I think a lot of people find business in like open houses, and there are so many different ways of doing it. And then there's a very direct way, which I think is the hardest way, which is door knocking and cold calling.
Which you did.
Yeah. I think I did it out of necessity because like I've gotten leads from all their places, but I was like, I just found quick success in that. And I was just like, I'm just going to do it. Probably because I didn't know anything else.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome to Tampa Bay Unlocked. I'm your host, Ryan Bogdan. Today, I have an amazing guest. He's a real stone-cold killer of an agent when it comes to helping a lot of people and being consistent. I've watched his career over the last few years, and he's doing remarkable things. I have Joe Bennett in the house.
What's up?
What's up, Joe? How are you, man?
I'm good.
You've done just a little over $5 million so far, and we're just barely halfway over the year.
Right.
Are you on track for your goal?
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So, I mean, you're the first guest on this show, so thank you for being our, I won't say guinea pig, but, you're jumping into the fire here head first.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
As we figure this out. So, for those, just tuning in, the Tampa Bay Unlocked is all about the greater area of Tampa Bay, the real estate, and the agents that are here producing and helping people move here, invest here, and either downsize or upsize or do all the things when it comes to real estate. And it's a grind out here, and I really want to highlight that.
It is. There's a lot of competition. Like, I was talking to a friend this weekend from Michigan. He was in town. He's like, hey, I want to move here, be an agent. I'm like, dude, there's a lot of competition. He's like, there's a lot of competition in Michigan. I'm like, not like Tampa. I'm like, no. Because other people move here all the time to be an agent. This is just a competitive place to be, yeah.
It is and it isn't, because I think it's a mindset.
Right.
There's only competition if you believe so. But there is the joke here that in Florida, more people have real estate license than driver's license.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Like every limiting belief is a mindset, but it is like some like small town in Michigan where the price point's
smacking the table, Joe. They can hear you.
Oh, they can. Like yeah, it's just it's a competitive place. A lot of people want to be here.
Yeah. No, they do. I mean, it's a great place to live. So, are you from here?
I grew up in Central Florida, but I've been in Florida for 30 years. So
a long time.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
And why real estate for you? Because I think we all have an interesting story and journey of how we got here.
Yeah. Well, I've been pretty honest about this. Is if I knew what real estate was, I probably wouldn't have ever done it because I didn't even know it was sales. Like I owned a gym before this on the side. Like I was investing already, and I started when I was like 23. And I was in like restaurant management, totally different stuff, like kind of honing leadership skills. I managed like 100 people and I was like 23, 24, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I had a bad breakup with my best friend and my business partners. And I got out and then I was like, what am I going to do? And I had been kind of preparing for this moment. Like I stopped playing video games like 6 years ago. I started reading books and then starting to take it really seriously and kind of preparing for whatever opportunity there was. And sometimes, like us as guys, we don't know what that is. And I didn't know what it was. And I fell into real estate, and I was like, this is my thing. And so I just naturally...
What was it about real estate that you said, this is my thing?
Yeah. I think real estate, I think everyone doing it at a high level would agree it's like you've got to have some personal development. Like you were in the military. I think that gives you an edge for sure because you're used to doing hard things. And real estate is all about doing hard things all the time.
So let's say there's someone listening right now they're just getting started and they're like, oh man, this guy Joe is telling me this thing is hard. What makes it hard from your viewpoint? Yeah,
I think entrepreneurship is hard. Like it's not just real estate. Like let's say like 90% of people don't make it 2 years. 90% of businesses don't make it a couple years. So it's not just real estate, but it is so competitive. You have no boss. I think it's just like entrepreneurship. It's just sales, going into business for yourself. There's no barrier to entry. Everyone knows an agent. You have to be unafraid to put yourself out there and tell people you're an agent, which I'm pretty chill in my normal life. And I just don't really push people to work with me, So it's like, I think you got to get pretty uncomfortable to do really well.
So how have you found your success? Because you've grown quickly.
Yeah.
So what's your secret sauce?
Yeah, I think I think the secret is like before you make a lot of money, you're really hungry. So I just came in really hungry. I found mentors. I started paying for a coach before I ever sold a house. I got a TC right away. Like I started doing the right things, I think, pretty quick, especially coaching. Like I've probably spent over 100 grand on coaches the last couple of years. So
Do you account your success to the coaches?
yeah, I think it's just modeling, just like not knowing what you're doing. And the cool thing is like I know if real estate didn't work out, I could go pay someone in some other industry to teach me exactly what to do, and I'll just take the same models from this and go do something else. So
Yeah, it teaches you a lot with relationship management and everything. So what are you doing? Like, how do you find success in this business? What's your model? Like, why work with Joe Bennett?
yeah, I'll be totally honest about that. Is I think if you grow really quick, you have imposter syndrome. And I've talked to a lot of agents, and they don't know if it was like I started in COVID, and I sold a lot of houses, and it was easy. It was hard to get business, but it was easy to sell houses. So I sold a lot of houses, and I wasn't sure if it was me or it was the market. So just being totally honest, I wasn't sure like what I was really good at. I just knew like it's cliche to say like I'm gonna outwork everybody. But in 2021, especially, I think that's when we met. I think that's when you came to the office. Like I was doing the 4 a.m. thing. I was running a lot. I was just really disciplining myself, and I was like more scheduled, probably than anyone else.
So that was your thing. I'm going to work harder than anyone.
Right.
I'm going to show up. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I'm going to have my workout done before anyone's alarm even thinks about going off.
Yeah.
And you're in the office, and you were calling people at 8 a.m.
Right.
Why were you calling people at 8 a.m., Joe?
Yeah. I like fell into it, just like real estate. I think a lot of people find business in like open houses, and there's so many different ways of doing it. And then there's a very direct way, which I think is the hardest way, which is door knocking and cold calling.
Which you did.
Yeah. I think I did it out of necessity because like I've gotten leads from all their places, but I was like, I just found quick success in that, and I was just like, I'm just gonna do it. Probably because I didn't know anything else, and people were like, "That's so hard," but I was like, "Dude, that's the only thing I know."
I feel like majority of our audience listening right now will be agents or those in the industry, so we can talk on that. Like, you did not mess around. Like 8 a.m., you're calling people, and you're telling them that you're calling them because their agent's sleeping.
Yeah, that is one of the scripts. I don't use that one though.
But it's not even in terms of that. But that was your mentality of I'm working harder.
Right.
So I think like your success comes from dude, people listening right now are thinking cold calling. Yeah, right. Not doing that.
No one
like
wants
that
to do
sounds
it.
awful. I'd rather poke my eyes out. And you're like, nope, that's the way I'm going to do it. And not only did you
Right.
did it, you made it work. So it's
Yeah.
proof that it does work.
Yep, that's right.
So you took the punches.
Yeah, and I think one thing that's cool about it is you can track it. Like I can track like every 250 conversations leads to a sale for me, which is like probably on average like 9 grand. It's like you can't track. I mean, you can track other things pretty well too, but I can track it down to a science and like build my goals around that, which is really cool. But it's like, yeah, man, like it's
So
like,
you gamify the business.
yeah, right.
Yeah, 250 calls. So you're counting.
Yeah, I count like over the past like 5 years, I have like every month stats down from like contacts, hours. Yeah. I
And
have
do you see
everything
the
tracked.
correlation of when calls drop, business drops?
Yes. You can see it like 3 months out. Like I can see, all right, I stopped calling here. 3 months from then, I had a drop in business. So you can literally see it. And I have a big calendar on my wall that I've shown you. And I just track, and I want to see like my year overall as an entrepreneur and see like where my energy rose and fell, where my flow state was. So I can track and just figure out like how to optimize my life. Like when do I need more vacations, more time off, that kind of thing. I take tracking really seriously besides like my income and other things, which is so dumb. Yeah.
There's always an area that lives in the dark as an entrepreneur and
Right.
business owner, and you don't know it until someone asks you a question and points it out, right?
True.
Okay, so what do you think about this current state of the market that we're in? Like you got boots on the ground. You've sold almost 20 homes so far this year. What are you seeing, and what are you predicting for the future?
Yeah. Well, I think number one, like anyone that's saying for sure is what's going to happen, like you shouldn't trust them because they're not humble enough to admit that no one knows. Number two, I think with everything 2008, any crisis, there is a big opportunity. I think it's really hard because even us with a growth mindset now, there's a lot of fear. I have to be really careful who I talk to because energy is really contagious and fear is really contagious. I know we talk about that all the time. It's like your words really matter. So I think here's the biggest thing is like real estate's been hard. Business has always been hard. This isn't another hard thing coming. And I think who you surround yourself with and your mindset's really important. And you have to really protect that. And it's like, dude, my mindset, it's not this every day, I'll be honest. But my mindset overall is like, I'm going to take business from all the scared agents, all the fearful agents. And I'm going to look back and be like, wow, this was like such a great opportunity. And other agents are going to look back and be like, wow, I thought real estate was over. I quit and I messed up, you know, and they're going to really miss out on what's coming.
Yeah, I think right now is the time to take market share if you're established and you can charge the storm, as we say here at Keller Williams.
Let me ask
right?
you, because I'm curious, because you have a really good mindset. Like, what do you think people can do today to not fall for just a contagious, like fear? Like, would you admit agents are super fearful right now?
I'm not getting that. Maybe
Okay.
some. Those are who aren't producing regularly. And if that's you listening, scarcity, like it's a slippery slope, right? Like you're not doing business and you're afraid, and then you start saying the market's hard, so then you're not doing the things. If you're doing activity and not getting results, well, let's tweak the activity, right? But most of the time, those who are scared are the ones that aren't doing anything.
Are you a part of all of those like realtor Facebook groups?
I don't pay attention. No.
Okay, that's where
Is that where it
it's
lives?
so bad.
You got to get out of there, dude. It's
I'm
like reading
about
the
to
comments.
leave.
You can't read the comments.
Well, that's where I get referrals sometimes too. So I'm
Okay.
like, I have to. You know how like everyone wants to quit social media, but we have to be on social media for business.
Yeah.
It's that thing. But the fear there.
Well, that's because that's a think tank. It's an echo chamber of like you're putting there like, oh, business sucks today, and someone else will be like, oh, me too, and then everyone just wants to go down that hole because they need a place to like vent. But that's not
right.
like, let's reframe quickly and be like, this is hard today because of X. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't pick up the phone. I haven't done an activity. I haven't done an open house in a month.
Yeah, it's black and white. That's where I think like locally maybe like there isn't like a ton of fear with people I've talked to, but nationally it's interesting to see people so afraid and how it spread so quickly where I don't know. I think it's going to be okay for the people that like the top 10% of people, they have nothing to worry about. Even if you are worried, it's like if you have like evidence of success in your career and in your life, you're going to be fine. It's just going to be harder. It's just going to make us better. So
well, it's sharpening the sword. And, you know, think about the line that Gary Keller gives us of charge the storm, right? But
Right.
like, let's break that down. So if you're a buffalo and there's a storm coming, you're going head first into it because you're going to get through it faster to the other side. But if you're just a cow, you're running away. And that storm, you actually stay in it longer, right? And I was really thinking about that the other day of like, if we're in a storm right now and we're charging it, that means we're more intentional with conversations that we're having with people, finding more people that we can help, right? People are still buying and selling every day. And as agents, like that's our livelihood, putting bread on the table, putting gas in our cars is dependent upon us helping people. That's how my mind works. I was like, I'm not here to sell your house. I'm here to help you achieve your goal.
right.
Right, help you buy a house, right? Achieve your goal. And if we're charging into that, boy, when you get to the other side and the sun comes out again, woo, you're going to be like, I have too much business.
Right.
Because the storm wiped out all the cows and they're back there.
Yeah, they're dead. Well,
They're dead.
I went through that when I got licensed in January 2020, and by March of 2020, I remember being in the training room and their agents crying because Gary Keller had just said COVID hit and just forget your goals. And I was a brand new agent. I didn't know anything. And my coaches, everyone in this office, staff stopped coming in. And I was like, what do? I don't even know real estate. And so I had a coach. And I was with a group of probably like 10 other agents, all the new agents. And I got them together. I was like, hey, we need to lead generate. And I remember on Zoom with them, and they were laughing at me. And I was like, you guys aren't lead generating? What are you doing? And they're just like, oh, whatever. They're like literally smoking and chilling. And I was like, I don't know how to, I can't say how I want to say it, but I was like, yeah, you guys are screwed. And I'm not going to hang out with you guys. And I just like worked so hard. And I I had such a great start just because I was like, I don't know what to do, especially because like there was so much fear, even with like veteran agents, where I was like, oh wow. But I was like, I'm just gonna have a strong
That was a
mindset at
strange
work.
time.
That was a really weird time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you persevered, and you've shown that your success comes down to being disciplined, tracking, and doing the things that people aren't willing to do, which is call for sale by owners, because you believe that you can help a for sale by owner better than they can help themselves. Correct?
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And expireds from the homes that didn't sell because the
Mhm.
agent's going to get it done. You think that you can.
You know what's so funny about expireds? I used to think that, but I think most homes expire because the agent just wasn't honest. Being honest with clients is hard because that can get us fired sometimes. And they weren't honest about the price. They were honest about a lot of things, and then it just takes an honest agent to come in here and be like, "Hey, you're overpriced," you know. And it wasn't like a skills thing. It was just like, we're just gonna be honest here.
I love that you said that, honesty. So super important, having integrity, being honest. And so for any agents that are listening right now that want, like, man, I have to tell them this price or I'm not going to get it, or I might get fired, or I can't tell them that they need to paint the kitchen or redo it because it's not, whatever the conversation is.
Right.
But the hard thing, but you're finding if I'm honest, I'm sleeping better at night. You're able to get them what they want to achieve, right, if they listen.
Right. I'll be honest. It is not always easy to do that because different real estate coaches will coach different things. So they'll say, take overpriced listings and then just get price adjustments. And I found that like when I hired an expired last year and I fired her 3 hours later because I found out she was crazy. And I just knew, I think now I know well enough that I can get a vibe from someone that I'm like, this house is not sellable. The price is too high. They're terrible. And the time I'm going to lose, I could have signed like 4 other listings. So I think it's being honest with yourself, and like, yeah.
So it's educating the market. Some of these people have unrealistic expectations on what their home is worth. And so how do you someone who's not, let's say they're not crazy, but they do have that, I'm a 600 home and really they should be a 525.
Ooh. I think if
550.
Okay. 550 to 600?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little better. I think like if we're off by like 10%, that's about 10%. That's okay. And I'll just tell them though, because I just had this happen where I'm like, hey, I'm with you. Like, I just sold one of my own my Airbnb recently, and it's weird being a seller. Like, I've sold 2 rentals of mine this year, and it is different. Where it's like, there's a lot of fear of like underpricing, and it's so funny being in this position. So basically, I'm like, hey, I'll go 10% over. If we don't get the right activity within a week or 2, we're changing the price. I just want to make sure we're in agreement with that. And it's like at that point, it's cool. Some sellers want to do things you disagree with, and you have to have the judgment to know when it's okay or not. If you're too rigid, I think you have to have a little flexibility.
Yeah. But it's setting expectations. You're setting the expectation of, sure, we'll do this, but at this time, this should have happened. We should have had X amount of showings, and if we're not getting that, then we need to make an adjustment.
And it's really important just to make sure you told them so you can reference that and be like, remember when we talked about this? Because sellers, you get blamed for everything that happens. We're like the quarterbacks where it's like we get all the praise. The lenders, inspectors, they don't get any praise. But when things go bad, we lose games. We get blamed for everything, even if it's not our fault. So we have to be really careful.
Yeah, how do you manage that? How do you manage the stress of the business? Because I think from the outside, those not in the business looking in say, oh, real estate agents, they make all this money. It's glam glitz. You get to look at nice houses all day. I can tell you, I was just in a flea-infested house today. I didn't go in that unit, but the unit next door was flea infested. And I said, I don't need to go in that one.
Dude, I had termites hit me in the face yesterday. I was like, no one's going to believe this. So I took a video. I don't think anyone can, if someone's not in real estate, it's like in any industry. I didn't even know what it was. No one, unless you've been an agent, it's really hard to imagine what it is. It's so much, no matter what they believe, it's so much harder than what they think. Because everyone gets their real estate license. It's like a midlife crisis, and most people fail.
Yeah, what is it? Hold on, because that is funny, because I just had a conversation with someone, and she's starting a business. She's like, well, Ryan, if it doesn't work, I'll just get my real estate license. And I was like, we're going to be having the same conversation that we're having now about how you need to do all the things you need to do to get business. Like, what? That's just a funny conversation. Why is it that people think like, oh, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to get my real estate license? You're crazy.
they don't see it as a real business, and 90% of businesses fails. It's like, I tell people all the time, this is the best analogy, and this is the truth, and people don't like it, but it's the truth. You know when sea turtles are running to the beach and they're all getting snatched, like 1 out of 100 make it. That's real estate. And it's like, literally, when I teach Ignite, no one really like smiles when I say that, but I'm like, most of you won't be here. And it's like, I just want to empower you with that, so you know to like be afraid and work afraid. And I was just talking to someone the other day in Ignite, and I'm like, wow, you're the only one that I remember seeing from that whole class of 20 people I taught last year. And I've never seen them again. It's really like a sea turtle. It's like, hopefully you make the water, and you need to like run really fast and like have a mindset that's like even 90% chance of failing. And that's the truth. Yeah.
It is the truth. And I do share the same stats because from our standpoint, we're hoping that that's motivating to get you to not be a statistic.
Yes. You completely don't have to be. You don't have to be. But it's shocking how many people just like, that's why personal development is so important. It's, man, it's just hard. And if you can't, that's why I think fit people have so much more success in life. Cause like the gym gets boring, you know, it's difficult, it's challenging. Any good thing in life is challenging and boring, and it's boring. Real estate's boring. Making calls for me is really boring. I definitely don't want to do it. But it's like any good thing in life is like right on the other side. So it's like, if you're not developed enough, you got to get developed or you're not ready.
I don't know. I think I might take a twist with this, but I was just thinking when you're saying about boring, and do you think that there's like a dopamine crisis because of how like, you know where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Because of social media, we're just like constantly like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And now, you know, it's something that, is there boring and hard work? Are they the same thing?
Well, if you think about it, like most people can't even read a book today. I even struggle with reading books. Like I know we were both readers, and like I love reading books, and it
feels good. It's like a massage for my brain.
It's so peaceful. It's like going for a walk in the park. I think like we're so overstimulated. Like sometimes I'll get really frustrated and I'll get bored and I'll like be feeling off, and I'm like, oh, I was just watching too much TV, or I was on social media too much, and nothing can give us the same amount of dopamine. So it's like, I don't know. That's why like older folks, they can hold a conversation and read books, and like young people, like it's not our fault. You know, we're not being bad. We cannot
overstimulated.
We can't focus on anything. Yeah.
That's why this is so fun.
Yeah.
Because you're locked in. You're
I
gonna
am.
feel like a real. I can't decide if I'm swearing on this show yet.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel like not a nice person if you were to pull out your phone right now.
Yeah, that would be weird.
That would be weird,
Yeah.
right? But if we were at a restaurant and you're like, oh, I just gotta take this real quick. Sorry.
Yeah. It's an addiction. It's like wild because like, when did you get your first cell phone?
7th grade.
Do you remember life before you had a phone?
Yeah, I do. A little bit because I rode bike a lot as a kid, and like, and mom would just be like, "Be home before dark."
Yeah.
You know? Don't be romping around Mechanicsburg. Shout out, mom. There you go.
And you didn't have a cell phone. I didn't get a cell phone until I was like 18.
Oh wow! So you yeah.
Well, I had to buy it myself, and
Yeah.
I don't know. And people got a hold of me somehow, and I'm like, I can't imagine people calling my house phone. Like, what if I get in a car? Like, how are you?
You
gonna
imagine
reach me?
running a real estate business without a cell phone,
Dude,
How does that work?
I know some celebrities that don't have cell phone. I thought I heard Eminem doesn't have a cell phone.
I
I'm like,
believe
don't know how
that,
to reach
dude. If you got people, I'm for it. I strive to get to a point in my life where I
You don't
don't
have to
need
have
to
a
carry
cell
a
phone?
phone around.
That is-
although it'll probably be implanted into my brain. But
Yeah, that's true.
so speaking of that and technology, where do you think tech is going with our business? Right, there's a lot of like
Oh,
people out
man.
there, and this could be sound clipped out. Like, where do you think tech is going for
Yeah.
us?
I think real estate's going to get disrupted. I think anywhere where there's a lot of money being made, it's going to get disrupted by people smarter than us, and that's just how
So AI.
AI.
Are you using any type of AI right now currently in your business?
I am, and I know I'm not using it. We all have a million things we need to work on, and one of my things that keeps me up at night is like I'm not learning about AI fast enough. And
yeah. So how are you? What are you using, and how are you using it?
I'm using AI to learn faster. I think that's the biggest thing is like
So like ChatGPT.
right, video editing, picture editing, like basic stuff. But I know there are bigger things, and I know like the ignorance tax that Alex Hormozy talks about. I'm like, I'm losing a lot of money because I don't know how to use AI more efficiently. And there are smarter people than me. They're using it really effectively, and I'm gonna be behind them until I learn what they know.
Yeah.
So
So now the question is, how much time are we dedicating to learn AI? Because I'm with you. Like it's wild to see what's happening, and I'm thinking, how can I integrate different AIs all into one to make some
Right.
things more efficient or just more effective?
I think for me at least, dude, I know we're both like big like personal development people. I think it's like there's for me, I'm like there is unlimited growth with myself. So like I'm like I'm just trying to learn about myself so I can have better self-management. Like this year I'm at like a year and a half of cold shower every day. That's like a small thing, but I'm like, how can I get better at doing hard things? And I'm like, that's a 5-minute thing. But I'm like
You take a cold shower every day?
every single day.
Dude, props to you. I can't do that. I
It's
could.
not-
I know I could. I choose not
You
to.
could. I know
I
you
like
could.
that warm shower. It's my thinking
Um,
time. I don't know. How well are you thinking when that cold water's hitting you?
I don't take long cold showers. It's not very long.
What is it,
Um,
5 seconds, Joe?
No, it's
10
5
seconds.
minutes.
5
It's
minutes
definitely
of
5 minutes.
constant cold.
Yeah. And you never get used to it.
No, you never get used to
Never
it.
get
I've
used to
done.
it.
I do cold plunges.
Okay, so you know.
I know.
That's- yeah.
I get that, but man, that shower, that's my thinking time. There's no phone in the shower.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But that's like one example of like, that's like every single day doing something that's hard and like I just do it. It's
So you wake up in the morning and you think, I have to do hard shit today. I'm saying it. $5 at KW Cares, Kathy. I got you.
Yeah. I think it's like that's like anything, man. It's like yeah, and for me I'm like I used to do like hot to cold. Now it's just cold. Like I'm like well, you broke the seal. I'm like we all have an inner bitch and it's like every single day. Like it's wild how quickly you can get soft if you don't. Like David Goggins, I get why he does what he does cuz he could get soft.
You can get comfy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
sure
like, "Ooh, that bed's a little extra cozy this morning."
Yeah, dude. I just think of like myself, like I'm married. I'm not as hungry financially as I was. And there were times when I was like I remember once I ran 20 miles. I got up at 3 a.m. In 2021. I got up at 3 a.m. on a Saturday, ran 20 miles, and then went on a listing appointment and signed it at 9 a.m. And that was like a level that I probably couldn't even get to now. I could, but I'm like,
You're like,
I was
man,
like,
the distance that you had to mentally.
I was
right?
just like, I was like a killer and I would destroy anyone, but
So
I'm not.
I like that you brought that up. When do you lose
Yeah.
that edge? So you get comfortable, right? You're like, oh, money. I just went on this cruise. I just did this. Like you're just not as hungry. So how do you stay hungry? I think that we need to get hungry again.
You know what's interesting is it's kind of literal. Like I've been fasting a lot this year, and I'm like when you're literally hungry, things are different. After you eat a meal, like they say, like to kill like a crocodile or alligator, like the best time to kill it is right after it ate. Cause then
Oh, it's
satisfied.
lazy.
Yeah,
Lazy,
it just
fat
ate.
and happy, sitting back, chilling.
It's chilling. And same thing for us. Like I think you have to be careful when it comes to like any vice, like sugar, alcohol, caffeine, because we're all stressed and we're all self-medicating, even if you don't know it, with social media, video games, sex, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. And I think you have to be really careful and be like, I was thinking about this the other day, like the NFL. Do you watch the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
So the worst teams in the NFL get better really quick because they have to get better quick because everyone's getting fired. The Steelers are consistently like 9-8. They're not good enough to make it to the Super Bowl, but they're not bad enough to
To
fire
fire
everyone and
anybody.
reset. And I think a lot of us in life are 9-8. Things are going okay, but we know we're settling and we're not really trying hard because things aren't bad enough. Like the only way for us to truly change is we have to be in enough pain. And if you're not in pain and you're just kind of chilling, you're just not achieving big things because you don't have to. There's no necessity.
Yeah, dude, I love that. We're all 9 and 8. Not all of us, but those that are. And
Yeah.
so where does the drive come from for you to want to achieve more?
Yeah, this is a big. I think one of the things, like, I'm not the smartest person. I'm not the hungriest person. I think I understand like mindset. Like I paid like mindset coaches and done like inner child therapy when it comes to real estate. Because I was like, I want to figure myself out. And one thing I settled with is I was like, I've had a lot of success and I'm not happy. But I'm like, you
It's a
probably
whole topic in itself.
It's a whole thing. Like now I'm convinced Tom Brady, the only way he won 7 Super Bowls, he had to be some kind of miserable. Because when you're happy, you don't need anything else. And he needed more Super Bowls. So I think for us, like to be motivated, the most motivated people, this is something no one talks about. They're miserable to an extent. to an extent, and they found a way to like hack it where they're not that miserable where you jump off a cliff miserable, but you're miserable enough to like get up early and do cold showers and do hard things and achieve more.
So is that miserable or just wanting to be better? Like, is there a difference?
But you have to be unhappy with where you're at.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
Miserable, unhappy. Yeah.
Or is it unlocking like full potential? I think that's like what I think about. Like, am I maxing out my potential? Is there more in the tank?
Yeah.
Could I have made one better decision today?
That's the difference. You're an internally driven person where for you, I bet there's no real ceiling. You're just chasing your potential, like you said.
There isn't. It's the game.
Right.
Like let's just play it to see what level we can get to.
And I think a lot of that comes from, I think a lot of it comes from childhood. And it's
it is deep, deep, deep.
Yeah. And it's like really like figuring out yourself. So like some people are like trying to hit real estate goals, and I'm like I take it to such an extreme level where I'm like really trying to figure myself out. And I'm really trying to figure out like why I do the things I do, how to get in a flow state. Cause like there are times when I'm like, if I could like bottle up this energy, it'd be worth like $1 million because you're like unstoppable. And there are other times when you're just like content, you're 9 and 8 and you're like, things aren't bad enough to do anything.
So for
about
you,
it.
for someone listening saying, oh, he mentioned flow state a few times. I don't even know if I'm in a flow state. What do you do personally that if you like, cause I think you're recipe'd out, what do you have to do to set up to get to your flow state?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Have you heard of that? Like, it's like mythology. I don't know. The guy that goes into the cave to kill a minotaur thing.
Yep.
And he carries like the ball string. I think that we have to like, when you're in a flow state, you have to remember how to get back there. So I've literally written this out. I'm like, you cannot always stay in a flow state because we're in a constant state of change.
Well, Andrew Huberman talks about like 90 minutes of like deep focus.
Right. And I'm like, I can be in a flow state probably like 6 months out of the year, but I figured out I can't at all times. There's too many factors. The biggest thing I do when I'm like off track is I'm like, you got to get upset. Because if you're not upset with how things are, nothing's going to change. It's just like
you're crying. Do you need a tissue? Or like you're just mad?
You have to get pissed off. Like I coach a lot of agents and they'll be like, I really want this thing. And I'm like, no, you don't. I can tell that you don't. You have to be so upset that like, if someone is telling you to get upset about something, you don't care enough. So for me, like I have to really get upset if I'm going to change something. Like for me, my sleep schedule's off. And if I don't care enough about that, it's not going to change. And we just don't change. And it's so crazy. You see so many unhappy people and it's like, this is one thing that taught me a lot about life is I used to have a boss a while back, like 8 years ago. And she was like 300 pounds, honestly. And she was getting on a roller coaster with her friends. And the bar couldn't fit over her. And the staff were really nicely trying to tell her, like, you're too big to ride this ride. And this is what happened. She stood there and like looked at like 30 people all watching her. And no one said anything because they were horrified. And she had to walk down the stairs by herself. And everyone downstairs were like, it's okay, whatever. You know, they're blaming on the machine. But she knew it was her. And any loving friend that cares about you is going to tell you the truth. And she just decided right then things were finally bad enough where I'm going to change my life. So now she's like written a book. She's lost like 150 pounds. And it took that horrible like moment for her to change her life. And I think some people like, you're just not innate. Like things aren't bad enough for you to change your life. I think a lot of agents are content. I think a lot of people are content. I think we can get content. I was in the gym this morning and I'm like, wow, I'm not as fit as I used to be. And it's like, I've been married for 9 years, you know, it's like finding like ways to be motivated. You know, I'm super interested in like motivation and figuring all that out. So,
yeah. So, well, I know we gotta wrap this up, man. There's so much more we could talk about. This could be a 2-hour thing. Yeah,
really could.
We'll have to get you back. So, for anyone who's interested, that you know they watch this, say, man, that guy Joe, I need to figure out that flow state thing. Are you willing to share? What's your email? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm
social media handle. Give them something.
Yeah, they can text me.
You're gonna give out your number.
I'm gonna give out my number. I'm gonna be super honest.
If you're someone who wants to sell a home right now and you listen to this guy, you're like, oh, I need that guy. Here it is. Get
Why
ready.
wouldn't they use you?
They're calling you, dude.
Okay, they'll call one of us. You call me at 863-840-1020. And I'm going to be super honest with you. If you're like an agent, a lot of agents reach out to me. I'm super honest. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not your friend. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. So I think too many people are not telling them the truth. So if you're open to hearing the truth, I'll tell you about like whatever your situation is. If you take that advice, you'll be successful. If not, you'll be a part of the 90%. So
Ooh, there it is, folks. Don't be a part of the bottom 90.
yeah.
Joe Bennett, thank you for being here, dude. That was awesome.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate
Appreciate it.
you.
Yeah, dude. That was fun.
All right, we think we got it.